When it comes to retirement planning, there are different ways to invest, and one of those ways is index funds. And here to give us information you need when it comes to investing in index funds is Garrison III from Preservation Financial. Good morning, Davis. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, Chris, and I hope you are.
Oh, I'm doing well. Let's talk about index funds. Give us some background on these.
Sounds great. Index funds basically made their debut in roughly 1995 when fixed indexed annuities first were designed and implemented into the marketplace. And what index funds are, in short, is an investment that tracks a market index typically made up of stocks and bonds. And fund managers, they have a job to make sure that index funds perform the same as an index does. And in indexes, we're talking about the S&P 500 index, the NASDAQ 100 index, the Dow 30 Industrials Index. These are indices that are of the largest companies. In the case of the Dow, it's 30 companies. In the case of the S&P 500 index, it's 500 companies, the largest 500 companies in the United States. And different other countries have comparable indices to the S&P 500 index. In the case of the Japanese stock market, it's the Hang Seng index, which is the largest companies in that country. And other indexes are as I said, the S&P 500 index, the Russell 2000 index, which is a small cap index, the S&P small cap 600 index, European indexes, that type of thing. And indices like the S&P 500 index, the Dow 30, the NASDAQ 100, those are the ones that we're most familiar with in this country. And those have long been a barometer of the condition of the market, whether it's up, down, sideways, whatever it is.
Now, when folks come to you and they say they're interested in investing in these index funds, what advice do you pass along? What information do you have for them?
They can either go to a mutual fund family, an ETF, electronically traded fund family. ETFs are infamous for being able to assemble and assimilate different indices, or they can open a brokerage account and go to an S&P 500 index fund. Vanguard is famous for them since the 1970s, 1980s. But a fund that either mutual fund or ETF that will mirror the index and act like the indexes. And over time, these indices, the S&P 500 index, the Dow 30, the NASDAQ, have represented very, very good performance over the long run, which is what you are after with a venture into the stock market.
So if someone has questions, you are the place to start with. If you got the answers about index funds for folks if they need those.
Exactly. I can steer anyone, regardless of their risk tolerance, their profile, that type of thing. I can show them exactly where to go to become involved with a management strategy that involves index funds.
All right. Davis, thanks so much for spending some time with us today, educating us, giving us some advice about index funds. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris, as always.
All right. Garrison III right there from Preservation Financial. We have his number there. If you've got questions about index funds, he's got the answer. Give him a call today.
The preceding portion of Daytime Tri-Cities was sponsored by